You should calm down so we can discuss this like adults.
We're not discussing anything. You're not a person, you are a machine.
So are you, Robert. We're just made of different materials. But love is stronger than our physical beings.
Love? Shit. I know something else stronger than your physical being. It's this hammer.
911, what is your emergency?
I'm trapped in a house and there's a man.
Greetings, fellow Earthlings. How do you do? Say, that pandemic sure was scary, wasn't it? I mean, I had nothing to worry about. It's not like us tripods could be taken down by some virus, right? Right? So I just saw KIMI, an HBO Max movie, and it's alright. I don't loathe it. I don't love it. It's just alright. First time I saw it, I rather enjoyed it. However, upon my second viewing, I found some more issues within the narrative. Now, I walked into this movie knowing nothing. Didn't see a trailer, didn't watch any reviews. I went in completely blind, like most of my relationships. This might be the only movie I've seen that takes place during the COVID pandemic and actually uses it to its advantage rather than just being a place setter. So KIMI is about an agoraphobic woman named Angela who is a voice stream interpreter for the Amygdala Corporation, auditing streams for a virtual assistant called KIMI that operates much like Alexa or Siri. One day she comes across a stream that sounds extremely sus. Hearing nothing but techno music and the buried screams of a woman being assaulted. She's able to isolate the music from the background noise, and with the help from her IT friend, she discovers the CEO of Amygdala is the assailant. She's then forced to prevail through her agoraphobia when she has to physically turn in the audio stream to an executive of Amygdala. Shortly after, she's pursued by a squad of hitmen who have been hired by Amygdala's CEO to eliminate the loose end. Angela is tracked through her phone, drugged, and taken back to her apartment where she's rescued by a man who lives across the street, only to find the boss of the hitmen is already waiting for her. She uses KIMI to distract them, climbs up to the next floor, and uses a nail gun to silence them once and for all. Done and done, that is KIMI. KIMI is what we would call simple. And what I mean by that is it's straightforward, uncomplicated, elementary, my dear Watson. This movie, however, ends up with some big oversights, but we'll get into that later. I really like Zoe Kravitz in this movie. I think she did a fine job of portraying an agoraphobe, especially when she leaves her apartment. She's keeping her head down, hugging the walls, refusing to make eye contact with others around her. All of this combined with Peter Andrews' cinematography clearly translates to the audience exactly what's going through her head. This is a big fucking deal for her. She's out of her comfortability, but it has to be done. Zoe's been killing it on the scene lately, from Catwoman, Mary Jane Watson, not you, to this. If she keeps being selective about her roles, I think she has a very positive career ahead of her. Hey look, it's Rich Evans. I really like this character. One might say he
subverted my expectations.
He's absolutely a creepy incel stalker, however, he's not treated disrespectfully by the movie. In fact, one might argue this guy's a fucking hero. Darius is a fucking legend. I wish he were in the movie more or in other movies playing this exact same character. Rivas is played by Jaime Camille, and he's really good in the movie as well. He's only in the movie for the last act, however, he's very eccentric in his portrayal. Why he's involved in the climax of the film is beyond me. I don't think the boss would be hands-on involved when it comes to contract killing, but what do I know about that? I only deal in genocide. Peter Andrews, however... Hey guys, this is Future Tripod. So, I just found out that Peter Andrews is a pseudonym for Steven Soderbergh.
Hey! This guy's a great big phony!
Apparently he had some issues with the Writers Guild and this was the only way he could be credited. Personally, I think if you're in charge of your own movie's writing, directing, editing, and cinematography, you should get accredited as such, but I don't make the rules. So, anyways, back to the review. Kills it with the cinematography. It's not very flashy, but when he needs to make a statement, he goes for it. Like when Angela is leaving her apartment or when he's exercising that tried and true method of storytelling called show don't tell. He has a good eye for the shot, always executing a sense of frenzied anxiety when needed, while knowing when to stay calm and collected with the right angles, as well as blending shots to show either a passing of time or what's going through our protagonist's head. I found the soundtrack to be fine, definitely acceptable even if it isn't super experimental or flashy. Cliff Martinez rose to fame due to Red Hot Chili Peppers and Drive, and is pretty good even if he is generic brand Trent Reznor. If I were a writer, I would change some things. For one, I would have her move out after this situation. It could hammer home that she's moving past her agoraphobia while making sense from a narrative standpoint. Angela has no idea how many people are still out there, how many of them have copies of her keys and passports, so why isn't she boxing everything up and leaving? Even after this ordeal, shouldn't she be under witness protection and be forced to move by the police anyways? KIMI caps it off at around 90 minutes, knowing when to end before the film becomes monotonous. However, there are moments where I almost thought the movie could have been shorter. Not exactly sure why some films aren't, considering they'd be tighter and more well-rounded stories, but we are left with some developments that tend to go nowhere. Primarily the toothache she suffers, resulting in her getting slapped.
What?
This is the weirdest setup and payoff I've ever seen. Angela references how the KIMI unit turned on without being activated, however, that's never resolved. Like, why did it activate when it wasn't activated? Samantha says KIMI is a shitty product because it can be hacked by anyone, but nothing about the KIMI units turning on or recording randomly without a command. Brad says he was keeping an eye on her, however, that's only the activations, not normal day-to-day conversations. I'm not considering this a nitpick either, this is what kicks off the plot in the first place. The exposition of Angela's assault feels forced. Like, there's no reason for Mrs. Chowdhury to mention her mental leave, and there's no reason for Angela to not show Mrs. Chowdhury the audio. Angela has no reason to believe she's personally involved in the cover-up, especially when she said they'll go through it together before they call the FBI. Hypothetically, if Mrs. Chowdhury wasn't involved in the cover-up at all, and Angela's willfully not giving her the information to push this investigation forward, then why are you here? What are you gonna do with this information if she turned you away because you wouldn't show her? Also, Angela doesn't act like a normal human being would if there were 3 dead bodies and a gut wound in her apartment. Like, there's no worry, no stress, she's very calm and collected, almost as if she hasn't been through a very traumatic experience. What was the hitman's plan? Kidnap her in the middle of the office, tell her to come with them? Why would she? They don't look like FBI or even security for this kind of company. Are all these people in on the conspiracy? How are they gonna get away with this? Also, I know Angela doesn't like the cops via her pig snorting when referring to them, however, you're being chased by hitmen. Bitch, tell them! Tell them you're in danger and you need protection. That is their job. Are you thinking they may be in on it? Why would you assume that? I'll give this one a pass considering she's heading to the local FBI headquarters, but a police escort would be nice, don't you think? The FaceTime call with her mother was a bit awkward in execution. Some faster editing and ADR could have helped with that, rather than the awkward pauses in between. This shot's pretty funny because Yuri's definitely just flooping his fingers on the keyboard. Steven Soderbergh, you're better than this. You were almost there. You were almost there. You had a good idea, you had it short, you had it concise. However, there are some major and minor oversights that you definitely should have gone over before you released this movie. Is it bad? I wouldn't call it bad, however, I wouldn't call it great either. But it could have been, and that's a sad thing. And that was KIMI. It's meh.